because then I don't get nervous. I don't have time. Well, it's been 30 minutes of me sitting here waiting and listening to Jill gathering up all this energy, and now you get to be the ones that see if I can actually make it into something coherent so that you can go away with some idea of what practitioners do, aside from getting nervous before they speak. I should tell you right away, I never planned or expected to be a practitioner. My story is that when I was maybe 14, 15, I had a girlfriend that used to attend the Unity Church. And as you may know, Unity is also a New Thought church. They subscribe maybe more heavily to a particularly Christian point of view, but nevertheless, they are very similar in what we do. Anyway, I went with her to this church, but not really for the message. She had a really cute boyfriend. And I was kind of interested in him, so okay. Anyway, it lasted for a year or so. But some of the things that I learned there stayed with me. Little things like, you know, be aware of your thoughts and don't be too critical of other people. And boy, I was really good at being critical because my intellectual abilities, you know, were becoming more mature at that age. And all of a sudden I thought I had to tell everybody how they should do things. You know any 14-year-olds? Anyway, so fast forward to 2000 and, I don't know, I guess whenever it was, 2007, I think, probably. I'm walking down the street in Campbell River, and there's a sandwich board up by the city hall, and it says New Thought, something, something, New Thought. And I thought, oh, I know what that is. Oh, that's interesting. I was living in a place at that time, a place in my head, where there wasn't a lot of spiritual stuff going on. And I thought, oh, that'd be kind of fun. I want to go see what they're up to. So I snuck in one day, and I mean snuck. They were meeting in a little small room, and there were maybe 7, 6, 8 people there. And the only reason I had the courage to go in was because they were playing Beatles music. I thought, you know, no place that plays Beatles music can be all bad. So I went in, and but as soon as everything was over, before they did the circle and all the hugging thing, I left. I was out of there. So I did that about 2 or 3 times, and then finally I got up my courage to actually speak to people, find out that, yeah, there was some interesting stuff going on. And I ended up, I think it was the next year, signing up for the basic classes. Took 2 years to work through Ernest Holmes, and still working on it, by the way. And at the end of that time, Jill had something called practitioner training, and so I talked to her, and I said, well, I want to be a practitioner, I'm sure of that, but, you know, what's this like? She said, well, you can just take it for personal development. I thought, okay, personal development, I'm into personal development, aren't we all? So she invited me to come, and I kind of put it off for a while. I think I ended up in the 3rd term or something. I showed up. And she said, oh, you don't have to be at the beginning, you can do that later, it's just fine. So I came to class, and what are they talking about? Life after death, you know, really light subject. So anyway, I stuck. I love learning things, I love reading, it suited me. And as I worked my way through the training, and it's a 2-year process, the 2nd year, we end up going quite deep. And by that I mean, the practitioners in training, we call them PITs, P-I-T. Practitioners in training have to actually really go into their own history, their own thinking, their own emotional relationships, learning a lot more about themselves in order to be sure that they are not going to be projecting all sorts of stuff on other people. And we work on this all the time. So just so you know, at the end of that period of time, there's an extensive written test, which is vetted outside of our center. Jill doesn't even get to see them until she gets the results. And then if you pass the test, then you get to go to before a board. And they decide if you have the skills and the aptitudes to actually be a practitioner. So it's not a shoe-in. But I was licensed in 2012, which is almost 5 years ago now. I can't believe it. Anyway, so in the process of this second year, I'll tell you that I was changed. We worked very strongly with affirmative prayer. We had to go and visit practitioners of our own outside the center, whoever we chose. We did practicums with each other. We did practice for each other. And during that time, I found out that affirmative prayer was really something I could hang my hat on. Affirmative prayer was what I loved to do. Affirmative prayer, and it still is. It's a way of organizing your thoughts and your emotions to be in line with the truth of spirit. And so when people ask me what a practitioner does, the best explanation I can really give you, and Jill touched on it, I thought she was going to steal my line, but she didn't actually, is if you're looking through a window and it's all dirty and grimy, the practitioner comes along. She doesn't clean the window for you. She hands you the bucket and the mop and the squeegee. And if you use them, you can clean that window yourself and get a clear view of reality. Yeah. So I encourage you to make use of us. As practitioners, we're always available to you one way or the other. There's all kinds of ways you can do that. And so something that things that we don't do. We do not counsel. We don't tell you how to live your life. We don't guide you through various problems. We are strictly there to help you see the reality underneath things, through things, the bigger picture. So if that appeals to you in any way, if that resonates with you, you need a practitioner, and make use of them anytime. And on top of that, learn how to do your own affirmative prayers. Yeah. They work. So Linda, I'm making use of Linda today. Would you hand those out for me, please? I've got a little something for you to take a look at, and I wanted you to see it at the last minute, so I didn't put it on the chairs. Maybe you could just give a whole bunch to each row, and then everybody could see it, so that I don't have to stand here and fill in time. And I could dance. And I'd rather dance than speak, actually.
Linda, let me help.
Just here. Give me some. I'll do the other side of the room.
We'll get in here.
Yeah. Oh, not enough. Who knew? Okay, you might have to share. Okay, share. It's okay. It's only going to take 30 seconds, if that. So take a look and see what that says. As I say, love is nowhere. Now I want you to take a look at it again. Love is now here. That's what a practitioner can do.
Oh, you're so smart. That's brilliant. Thank you. Everybody get that? Let's hear for Jane. So now I'd like to introduce our speaker for today. Oh, that's me. How do you do that anyway? This is good because we've had such a full day. If you look at the clock, it's already 11:15, so you're going to get the condensed version of diversity and inclusivity, which is our February theme. And the title for today is quite interesting, I thought. God comes through the wound. And when I read that before I started preparing for the talk, I'm like, what is that about? Well, what I want you to do is to close your eyes for a moment. And just give thought to one part of yourself that you wish didn't exist, that you would want to change. Feel what is going on in your body. Any form of judgment and resistance. Feel perhaps its density and its heaviness. And then you can open your eyes. I'm going to leave you you with that feeling, because what we're going to do is we're going to transform through the talk. Because the feeling and that idea that we have is the part of what February is about. Jean and I had a lovely little quick chat about diversity and inclusivity at the beginning today. And it's not about race. It's not about color. It's not about sexual orientation. It's so much finer and subtler than that. And those thoughts that you had about yourself, that you wish didn't exist, those are the judgments and the limitations that we place not only on ourselves, but we place on others. And that's the part of diversity and inclusivity I want to speak to today. We're all born into the world of families, each and every one of us. We can't avoid that. That's just the way it is. And neighbors and communities and countries and towns. And so the way I see it is that we're born in and we're these beautiful, fresh little babies. My baby Pearl is 6 months old and she's so great. You know how she talks? And nobody tells her that's wrong, right? Like, it's cool. But if I came up to you today and went, you'd be like, what the hell, Jill? Get a program. Right? And so we have all these things that get imposed upon us as we develop and grow, of the ways that are right to be, and the ways that are wrong to be. And heaven forbid if we mess it up. Then what do we get told? We get shamed. We get told that there's something wrong with us. We're stupid. We're slow. We get shocked with all these labels of less than. We have judgment imposed upon us by those who've had judgment opposed upon them, by those who've had judgment opposed upon them, and on and on and on it goes. Where's the diversity and inclusivity? There's no, when people were asking me once, well, what do you do for a baptism? And I said, well, it's kind of opposite than what I've been used to in the other traditions that I grew up in. What we do is when the child is there, we call it a naming ceremony, and we charge the adults for supporting the individuality of that new baby. How different is that? We don't tell the adults to make sure that they behave and follow the rules. We do the opposite. We tell the adults that do not impress your idea on who you think they should be. Listen, watch, observe, and support them in who they are. Imagine a world where each child was born into that realm, where they were nurtured for their difference, for their uniqueness. And so what happens is we're told to keep quiet, we're told to conform, we're told to be seen and not heard. Don't ruffle the feathers. Don't upset. When my mom said to me once, when I got divorced for the first time, you are giving your father angina. He's going to die of a heart attack. Wow, that's pretty powerful, Mom. I had no idea I could do that. So deep within our soul, though, there's this longing. Don't you feel it? This longing to be free of it all? Like, just get out of my way so I can be me? Heaven forbid. Can't I just be me? Am I the only one who's grew up thinking that? I just want to be me. It's what moved me through every day of my life. And yet people kept trying to press me down. And so I built up these ideas that because they didn't love me the way I was, there was something wrong with me. I needed to change. I needed to be better. And so I get trapped inside. I'm imprisoned by my own judgments and my own thinking. Having a soul longing to express its true nature. And then we behave in irrational ways. That's what comes next. Talk about 14-year-olds. We start doing things, screaming from the inside out, hear me! Or running and escaping through food, shopping, drinking, drugs. I don't know, name the addiction. They're out there, all of them. Sports, all of it. We run away from that imprisoned feeling inside just to have a little bit of a sense of freedom. I was taking a class yesterday online. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The Holistic Life Foundation, they're 3 young men in their 30s, you love them. And they teach meditation and yoga to young children. Oh my gosh, they're amazing. They're from the hard part of town in Baltimore. And they have a story. But anyway, they were so empowering because they just see the truth in these kids. And they allow the kids to be them. They don't make them meditate. They just do their thing. And the kids are bouncing around them. Some of them pay attention, some of them don't. But inevitably, all of them pick up these tools and techniques, and it's brilliant. They love these kids. You can just feel the love in these guys. And they're just 3 guys from the hood teaching love, meditation, and yoga. And they said the hardest thing, they said one guy was talking to a group of kids in the street, and he said something, and the kids are like, "Whoa, man, you can't say that. We're kids." And no, it wasn't the F-bomb. It was love. He said, "I love you, dudes." And they freaked out on him because they had no concept of true meaning of love. They were terrified of it. So these guys have decided to love everybody up. And they're known in their hood as those yoga dudes. And they get stopped in the street just for that feeling that people get, that sense of freedom just to be with these guys because they love each person for who they are, no matter what age. It's amazing. And so each of us, we hold ourselves frozen by this conditioning of the world around us. And yet we want to push that fence and knock it down. We act out. We do whatever we can to hurt not only ourselves, but we lash out and we hurt other people along the path in a scream to be free. And so the spiritual teaching along these lines is that in these wounds that we create for ourselves, because it's not how we're born, in this trap that we create for ourselves, or it's been created on us, what happens is we end up bumping a big frickin' wall or going down a deep, dark hole. We hit that bottom and we break open all of a sudden, and it's painful. And the spiritual lesson is that those breaking opens are exactly what's necessary for the light to come in. So when the pain and suffering starts happening, we can then embrace it instead of going, "No, I've had enough pain." We can go, "Oh, you're here to crack me open a little bit more." And we can welcome it into our reality and get excited to know that the time has arrived for this opening of light in my life. Breaking open is not something that is bad. It is something that is destined to happen. Ernest Holmes says, "God uses broken things. It takes broken soil to produce a crop, broken clouds to give rain, broken grain to give bread, broken bread to give strength. It is the broken alabaster box that gives forth perfume." So breaking open, we can receive and we can heal. Lots of good stories here. I don't want to miss one. Okay. The other part of this is, there's this guy, he's really cool. I highly recommend you YouTube him. His name is Panache Desai. Panache Desai. Anybody know him? A couple people? Very cool dude. Anyway, one of the things that he does is somebody comes up and they talk about their story, and then after they're done with their story, the practitioners don't do this, but they could. After they're done with the story, he asks the person to repeat, "I'm a victim." And everybody's like, "What? Whoa! We don't want to affirm that." And his intention is, accept it. Right now you're in victimhood. Allow that digression in our own thought to be a reality instead of fighting it. Here's where I'm a victim to my life. And so the power in spiritual teaching is that this confession, this acceptance, is a confession that then can be broken. Awareness is curative. Once I speak to it, I can then dissipate the power it has over me. That which I shove down and pretend doesn't exist, it's just going to run my life. But if I put words to it and go, this is where I'm a victim to my reality, what we don't own owns us. That's the way it happens. And so we confess our sins any way you want. Call them what you might. A mistake. Here's where I've made my mistakes. You know, Many of you have been in a 12-step program, and I believe it's step 4 and 5 that's a really powerful part of the program, which is all about, isn't it moral inventory or something like that? Where you go through and actually take an inventory of your shortcomings and your bonuses, things, your attributes, where you're great. And that is such a powerful practice. By just writing them down, Blake's my partner, Blake was reading part of one of the books to me, and they say, write it down. Make a list. Don't go on with the story, just make a list. This I did, and that I did, and here's where I, have judgments, and here's where I'm hard on myself, and here's where I'm hard on others, and whatever that list may be. And once we put it down, all of a sudden it loses its clutches on us. It no longer is that thing that steers our lives. We're able to see it for what it is, which is a story. It's all it is. And we can just shed it. Be gone. You no longer have power over me. What we teach in these principles here is that the power begins right in this moment. What are you thinking right now? That's the thought that's creating your tomorrow. So don't worry about all that garbage from the past. See it for what it is, let it go, and move forward. And once we do this with ourselves, then we can do it with others. So if you find, like Jean was talking about how she tended to be very intellectualized and judgmental about life, guess what? The worst victim of that intellectualizing, judgmental behavior is ourselves. If we're doing it out there, you gotta know you're doing it worse to yourself. So use that as an opportunity to go, where do I need to accept and love myself today? What is it I need to let go of so that I might love the other? Greater, bigger. Because kindness and compassion towards self and others is where a world that works for everyone begins. There's a story. I have to share this story. Once upon a time, there was this blind girl, and she hated herself for being blind. She hated everyone and everything except her loving boyfriend. He was always there for her, and she was so grateful to have him in her life. And she said that if only she could see the world, she would marry him. Well, one day, someone donated a pair of eyes for her, and she could see everything. She was so overjoyed to have the gift of eyesight and to see for the first time the beauties of the world. And so the boyfriend asked her, now that you can see the world, will you marry me? Well, the girl was shocked. She had no idea that her boyfriend was blind too. And hating the blindness that she had inside of herself, she refused to marry him. Well, the boyfriend, as you can imagine, walked away devastated because they had had so much love together. Months later, this girl, she received a letter in the mail and slightly recognized the writing. And she opened it up and took out the letter, and all it said was, "Dear girlfriend, take care of my eyes. I love you." It happens. It happens. What do you hate? What do you not like? What do you judge? Because like that boyfriend, as Jean was talking, spirit, universe, energy, God, whatever you want to call it, is gifting us the attributes of life all the time. What are we blocking? What are we judging that we might not really accept those gifts fully? Rumi's poem says, "This being human is a great house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house, empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. Who knows? The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Let the light in. It's here to serve you. It's here to grow you. And join me in prayer if you will. Take these words as your own if you choose. I know there is just one life, and this life is love. It is joy. It is light. And today, I hold myself in the loving, unconditional arms of this infinite presence. I cannot separate myself from it. I allow my judgments and my wounds to be the cracks through which brightens my truth. Allows this non-truth to spill out of me, that what is revealed is a greater idea of the truth of what I've always wanted to be. And so I, in trust and faith and courage, I allow that inner soul to shine its delight and be all the quirkiness that it wants to be. Because spirit is here, energy is ever present, supporting and loving and waiting for my arrival, whole and complete. It is mine to do. And so I clear the lenses of my eyes. I see truth everywhere present. I let go of not only judging me, but others. And I smile. Life is good. Life is for me. And I am so grateful. I surrender confidently. I let go to this truth and continue to celebrate the good in my days. And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you, everybody. Love you. So now, to conclude our celebration, who will I call on? Darlene and Kay. Do you want to use that basket too, Kay, please? We have offertory envelopes at the back, and if you put your name and address on them, at the end of each year, we calculate all that you've given to the center, and we send you a tax receipt, because we are a registered charity. Also on your envelope is a lovely affirmation that you can say with me if you choose. I live in a universe of abundance. As I freely and joyfully give, I join in the divine flow, and all that I share with life returns to me, multiplied abundantly, and so it is. So much.
Circulation, circulation, like the water raining down to grow the flowers up through the ground. Circulation, circulation, the universe you give it to will multiply and send it down to me. Circulation, circulation, like the water raining down to grow the flowers up through the ground. Circulation, circulation, the universe you give it to will multiply and send it back to me. Press down, and just shaking it up, and press down, and just shaking it up, and press down, and just shaking it up, press down, and just shaking it up.
Thank you so much. It's what my prayer request is, actually. Thank you. And the center totally operates on you. So you, when you look at this building and you drive by this building is made up of each and every one of you. No matter what you give here, you are a part of it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We wouldn't be here to support people in their lives if it wasn't for you. In celebration of our community, I invite you all to stand and form a circle, and we'll sing our closing song. If you choose, we're a place of choice.
Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace.